Hello and welcome, it's Peg, and it is time for a fast video from AJOS Sharing. We do this live on Thursdays on another channel, which is AJOS Sharing. Chelsea and I share the screen. And today we were doing creative lettering because the whole month of April is about creative lettering. So I have these two pieces of watercolor paper that I've put some granulating watercolor down on, and this one I'm going to start with. I've got these sprays that I have not used up. These are from Art Anthology, and a stencil from Stencil Girl because I'm still doing the 100 Days of Stencil Girl in addition to these other things. So I wanted to spray some of that color through the stencil and then, you know, apply some color to the edges. And I like that torn watercolor look, and the very edge that's torn picks up a little bit extra color. So yeah, that's got to set aside and dry now because it's wet. So I'm just going to clean off my stencil a little bit. I've got this other piece to work on, and I've got some ideas about what I want to do with that. So just gonna figure out what I'm doing with the stencil, clean it off a little bit, set it aside to wash up later, get a dry piece of paper underneath that next sheet that I'm going to work on. And these are papers that I had been creating throughout the week. This one has almost a holographic look to it. But these are all for the Stencil Girl project. But so now I've got this sheet of watercolor. This is 300-pound watercolor paper, pretty good stuff. And this stencil from Ray Sigmund. I think this was a Stencil Club one, but there's a lot of her stencils that I really like because she does a lot of botanicals. And you know, I have a partiality towards the botanicals. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to start scrubbing out some of the color. I'm just using this scrubber brush, wetting down the area that's exposed through the stencil, and then using a tissue to pull the color off of the paper. You've seen me do this technique before. I've got another video out there from a few weeks back showing another piece that I did using this technique, but it's a lot of fun. And you know, I have a hard time leaving white space anyway, so it's a great way to lift watercolor. Now, some watercolors are a bit more staining than others, so experiment with yours and see whether or not the watercolors that you're using are staining the paper when you go to lift it. So I'm showing this book from Joanne Sharp. I had done a video showing her book and, you know, what I had done using her book, and this comes with a pad of paper and this lettering book, and so I'm going to refer to that a little bit as I work today. I'm going to grab a T-square and I'm looking through the book trying to find a font that is speaking to me. I'm not finding exactly what I want, so I'm just going to get a pen out, a brush pen. It's one of my favorites. It's a Pentel pocket brush pen, and one of the reasons it's one of my favorites is it's refillable, so you just take the cartridge out and replace it with another. I have a couple of these pens, and I really like them. So one of the gals I'd taken class with had turned me on to the Pentel because she was a rep for Pentel, and I wanted to try it out, and so she graciously gave me some pens to try. So I'm using a T-square here just because I kind of want to know where I'm headed with this. You can see what a nice brush stroke you can get, using this. It's just like having a brush with some acrylic paint. And you could paint this, you certainly could with a brush. But I happen to like this pocket brush, and I want to thicken that up a little bit in some places where it skipped just a little bit. And then I'm showing them another tool so that if you didn't want a straight line, you could do a curvy line. And then these are the Staedtler pens. I was down at Dick Blick, and the clerk there was telling me about these and thought I ought to give them a try. So I thought, okay, I'll get a couple of them. I've got one that's they don't come with dual tips. One is a okay, so we were talking about different products that had nothing to do with what we're talking about here. One was a chisel tip and one was just a bullet. So you can get different effects using the different tips on those, but I do like them. They're nice dark black. So I put my quote on here, and then, you know, I got to put the author on there too, because we want to make sure we're giving credit where credit is due. And then I decided I needed some more stenciling down at the bottom of this page. So I'm going to get my little scrubby brush out, and I'm going to scrub back some of that color and reveal some of the white paper underneath. And that'll be about it for this particular piece. I did several things during the live show. It's an hour-and-a-half show. And so, you know, when you're doing small projects like this, you can get a lot done. Now, I did have the color on this page before I started. I did that yesterday evening, and I let it dry overnight. So, yeah, it was ready to go. I'm really loving this stencil. I think it's an awesome stencil, and I will probably be using this a lot more in the future. And if you're not part of Stencil Club, you know, check that out on Stencil Girl Products. You don't have to join forever. You could just join for a month and get the ones that you want. But I do like this stencil also, and it's very pretty. So I need to do some lettering because it's all about the lettering today, and I didn't want to do it in a black because I kind of wanted to go around the shape of the fern there. So I'm picking a purple. These markers are a brush tip marker from Zebra, and I really, 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 really like them. I think I need to get them in a few more colors. This is kind of a pastel set. And I don't have a black. I think I would like a black. But the nibs on them are very flexible. And so I can write around the edge of my stencil piece there quite easily. And I like that. That's kind of fun. Just jotting across the page. And then I want to put a quote on here. So I'm going to pop that back in there. I'm just showing both tips of that pen. And I'm going to pick up the gray, and I'm going to put my quote down with the gray tip. And what does the quote say? This is a quote from Margaret Storm Jameson, and it says, "The only way to live is to accept each minute as an unrepeatable miracle," which is exactly what it is, a miracle and unrepeatable. I like that. So, yeah, I got a little quote going on there. Got life is about creating yourself on the other one, and we're off to a good start. Now, if you want to join Art Joy Sharing, you just need to answer a few questions on the Facebook page so that we know you're not, you know, a robot or, you know, trying to pull any shenanigans. and agree to the terms of use, and you are in. So coming back with that stencil again, I thought this corner was a little bit bare, so I wanted to add just a little bit something more. And then I reached for some of the smaller stencils. Stencil Girl makes these wonderful stencils that are ATC size. And I think the one that I picked in the long run was a butterfly one from Carolyn Doobie, maybe? Yeah, I think it's Carolyn's. So I'm looking at these, trying to figure out what else I want to put on this page. And I come up with a butterfly, because why not? And you can see I've got them grouped in the 9 that come out with a particular ATC size, because they come in like a 9 by 12, and then I cut them down to use to the smaller size, because if you want to move this around your page, you can just take it off the ring and use it that way instead of having the great big stencil. So there I've got my couple little butterflies, and I got my written pen a little bit wet, so I'm going to go back with that purple and just correct that a little bit, and that's page number 2 for today. Oh boy. Now, what am I going to do next? Well, I think I'm going to go back to that Artful Lettering book and see if I can find something that inspires me. And I start flipping through the pages, and I'm getting out the paper, which is, there's a pad of paper that comes with the book. It's a nice smooth paper, but it's meant for drawing, and it does bleed through if you have some stuff that is precious underneath. Just know that it will bleed through. But I saw something in there that I liked. So I am going to use that and just start penciling in some words. And the word is art, and it's the letter A for art. So then I'm going to get those colored pens out again, and this is all, in Joanne Sharp's book. So, check out that book. I've got it in my Amazon store for you. If you're interested in it, just, follow the links below in the description box to my Amazon store, and you will be able to find that. And you don't have to buy it there, just look at it. If you got another book vendor or something, you can go there and get what you want. But I'm picking out the colors that I want to use here, and I'm getting a pink, a hot pink, and an orange, I think. And I'm just going to color around. What I did is I marked with a pencil the areas that I did not want to color, because I want to leave some of this white. And that's one of the things, if you're doing watercolor or something like that, if there's something that you want to leave white, you need to remember that so that you don't come back and put a color where you don't want it. So I am filling this in, and this is a really fun way to letter and fill in around the letters with these colors. And then I'm going to get a little bit off the reservation here, and I'm going to do a couple more different lettering styles. Now, if you have rulers and protractors and arched things and circles, it's a lot of fun to letter around in different shapes. So you might want to think about that. Take a look around your studio and figure out, what do you have that you might want to use to create a curvy line on a page, or a straight line, or whatever is floating your boat today. Get those things out and have a play with some creative lettering, and then use our hashtag so that we find it, because there is a hashtag in Instagram, there's the hashtag in the Facebook group, and we would love to see what you have done for creative lettering. So now I'm going to pick up this thicker black Staedtler pen, and I'm going to draw some lines and create a rectangle. And then I'm going to get a thinner. Oh no, I'm not. Then I'm going to just go within that box. Connect the boxes by adding another letter that goes both inside and outside of the box. And you can draw with a white pen or something, as long as it's acrylic on top of that black tea too. I didn't do it today because, there's only so much time. It's an hour and a half. But if you want to do that, you got plenty of time, so try it out. So now I'm going to draw a letter within the box. So I'm just using my thin line pen. These are micron pens. And I'm making kind of a curvy R to draw art once again. So now I want to do some coloring in. So I'm going to speed things up just a little bit. Anyway, I think you guys get the drift. It's all about the letters. It's all about being creative with your letters. And let's see what you can do. Let's see what you're coming up with. Now, I'm coloring in the background on this with my pen. And I just, there's some areas I want to leave white. There's some areas I want to color. And I'm deciding that I want a box around the A also. Because I really want to emphasize that a little bit more. So do a little bit of frilly on the edge. You can do a zigzag. You can do whatever you want. Circles, dots, you name it. And then I'm coming back with that smaller line inside, just like the box below it. And then I decided I wanted to add some more color. Oh yeah, I decided that these letters needed to be connected, so I came back with my pen so that they were not just hanging out there. And then I thought, no, water is not good on this page, so I'm going to go to my crayons, and I got this peachy color out of my crayons, and I'm just going to use I take a brush, I wet it, and then I wiped it dry so that it was just, flexible and damp. And then I used that to move the crayon around a little bit in the background there. I could have taken a marker and I could have colored it all in, just like I'm doing here, but that wasn't really what I wanted. I wanted a softer color in there. So, and I'm going to repeat those colors from above. On the R, I'm going to put a shadow on this T, put some polka dots around the edge, and that'll be about it for today's hour and a half, which has been sped up for you, for those that are working and don't have time to sit with us for an hour and a half. And then go over and watch Chelsea. She did a beautiful page today with a quote and a bird, and I think you'll like what she did too. But that's it from me. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, in a world where you can be anything, remember to be kind. Thanks, guys.